All right. So the first article is the lead article that I found interesting today. It is from the Courier Journal in the city of Louisville, Kentucky. Of course, that's where Breonna Taylor was murdered. On this title, it says Black activists call for boycott of Nulu business. They say silence them, I believe, during protests. So it says here the activists behind the occupation of Market Street in July that resulted in 76 arrests, called on Monday for a boycott of the Nulu business, which is an area of town. Louisville's my hometown, so that's why I know a little bit more about, I guess, the layout of the city. Her name is Talisa Wilson, and she's saying that Reveille Boutique, which is a city in that area, called the police on her. I believe later in the article it said 3 or 4 times, during the actual protests in July. And she mentioned that some leaders. So yeah, so that's what happened. They of course deny it, or they say they are in very much support of, I guess, black-owned businesses, that type of thing. But we'll see how that all plays out. Here it says leaders set up a list of demands for the owners of Nulu businesses, many of which have Black Lives Matter signs in their storefronts. Some mentioned that they followed the demands and the guidelines, and others said that they did not. The demands call for the staffing of, let's see, each store to be at least 23% black, excuse me, which replicates the population of the city of Louisville, diversity training, and some other things as well that they actually listed. One of the eateries got really mad. What's it called here? La Boquita de Mima rallied against the demands, which the owner referred to as mafia tactics. So you see what's going on in Louisville, back and forth with different activists, and it shows the power of protest, but then it also shows the power in terms of having ownership in your own business. So we would actually need to worry about these types of things from an economic perspective. So I highly recommend that you check out this article in the Courier Journal, which is the local newspaper for the city of Louisville, Kentucky. The second article comes from the Harvard Business Review, and it's talking about give job applicants with criminal records a fair chance. And this is articles from Margie Lee Johnson, and she's talking about, in the first part of the article, systematic racism and how it's incarcerated a lot of Black men over the years. Of course, we know all about that, here at the Black Business School. And she mentioned a solution is about fair chance hiring practices. So this is basically where you don't necessarily judge the candidate on their previous criminal record, but how do you look at them as the individual candidate that's sitting in front of you as well. Eventually, they talk about how a company could deploy this in their hiring practices. So the first thing is assess the candidate, not the record, which I just mentioned. But here are a few steps to consider as you're building your program. They mention creating an intentional hiring plan, asking these questions: what do we hope to accomplish with Fair Chance program, et cetera, et cetera. Connect with local partners to find top talent, conduct skills-based interviews, and fairly assess charges, just to really know the nature of those charges as well. But I highly recommend that you read this article. It's in the Harvard Business Review as of today, and the link will be in the description. The next article actually features our friend Byron Allen. It's from Crane's Business Detroit, and it talks about Black leaders seek real change, real relationship with white corporate America. I found this interesting because, of course, there's this divide historically between, I guess, what we call Black inclusionists and Black nationalists. This takes things from a Black inclusionist perspective in terms of what they're looking for. So seeking significant presence at board, C-suite, and management levels, often looking for real, not token business relationships. And corporations need systems to hold themselves accountable for racial equity, justice, and leaders, racial equity and justice, leaders say. So Byron Allen actually is from Detroit. I did not know that until reading this article. But there was a line in here that I really love. Let me see if I can find that. Here we go. It's this right here. And I look at this from, I guess, thinking about, Black people being in the United States, a nation within a nation. But he states here, Byron Allen, the greatest trade deficit in America is the trade deficit between white corporate America and Black America. When you fix that trade deficit Black people have, we're fine. So I thought that was, very insightful way to kind of just look at, look at this article and what's going on in regards to forming stronger relationships and partnerships with white-owned companies. For those who want to go that direction, and this article is talking about that quite extensively. The next article comes from Fast Company, and it's actually from one of my friends and a former guest of the show. She's been on previously, Orion Brown, with the Black Travel Box. She's talking about why many programs targeting people of color founders, POC founders, end up feeling predatory. Yeah, I mean, this article, she goes pretty deep in terms of her company and how it's viewed compared to other companies where people use, and I guess white founders and mentors and investors use words like niche a lot, that type of thing. But she's in the beauty and personal care space, which is not necessarily a niche type of product. It's something that is, very widely used and has, billions and billions of dollars associated with it in terms of revenue spend every single year. But to sum up, her article, I really love this quote right here. Orion stated, "We are a group who is over-mentored and underfunded." And I talked to a lot of different entrepreneurs, and many of them say the same thing, Black entrepreneurs. They talk about, mentoring is cool, it's good to have access and networks, that's all great. But what they really need is additional dollars to help grow their businesses. And there's a lot of perception that needs to be changed as it relates to funding Black-owned businesses as well. In this same space, I was listening to an article by Goldman Sachs, or excuse me, this is an article, listening to a interview by Tristan Walker of Walker and Company. So they own the brand Bevel, but they recently, I guess maybe 2 years ago, sold to Procter and Gamble for an undisclosed amount of money, I believe. But he was talking about that similar to Orion in terms of being in the space where, yeah, you give Black women 15% of the hair care shelf space in retail stores, but they actually make up, call it like 70 or 80% of the actual hair care spend. I'll include this link as an additional link that relates to, I guess, this Orion Brown Fast Company article as well. The last article that I want to talk about today comes from the Philly Tribune. It states, Black-owned business is bringing healthcare to the barbershop. They were talking about Nile Style Barbershop as the example, and how they, require temperature checks like many businesses do before you can actually enter their I guess place of establishment, and then do like coronavirus questionnaires and healthcare checks. But it's an additional place where I guess Black men to go to really be checked on as it relates to their physical health. But this is actually a company called LiveChair, which is an app that helps people book appointments. I'm not sure who uses LiveChair out there, but yeah, you should definitely give it a try. But they were talking about how they're using their platform, their appointment management platform, that's also equipping barbershops with health screening tools. One of the co-founders is Andrew Suggs. He said that he and his team wanted to bridge the racial disparities in healthcare. So I found this to be interesting. I think you're going to see more of that, where you see, many of these platforms start to integrate health screenings and health tests, especially if they have a physical component to them, where people actually have to go somewhere like the barbershop, that type of thing, which has historically been a trusted place for African Americans, African American men, to get advice, to share, to build that community as well. So I highly recommend that you check out this article too. It's in, like I said, the Philly Tribune, and I will put the link into the description of this video. So those are all the articles today as it relates to the Financial Juneteenth 5. If you all like the articles, have any suggestions in terms of how I can make this better, as it's a new segment, please let me know. But please make sure you press the thumbs up button before you get out of here, share, and also subscribe to the Black Financial Channel if you would like to receive more financial content like the content that was presented today. So on behalf of the Black Financial Channel, my name is Lawrence Watkins. You all take care, be blessed, and have a wonderful day.